Joining me now is Democratic Congressman from Colorado, Jason Crow. Congressman, yesterday was he and 5 other Democratic lawmakers who served in the military or the CIA sent a letter to President Biden urging him to put pressure on Israel to change course in Gaza. Congressman, I read this letter, and these are sort of like all the national security grown-ups among Democrats in the U.S. House here, a pretty serious group of people. What do you want to see the president do differently here?
Well, hi, Garrett. I join with my colleagues, as you say, all of whom have either military experience or worked for the Department of Defense or the CIA. Most of us spent years of our lives fighting the U.S. global war on terrorism. And one of the most important lessons we learned during that period is that military power has limitations. You can't bomb away a terror ideology. And we want to take that lesson and we want to impart that lesson on our key partner, Israel here, who we are afraid is moving in the very wrong direction. So one of the key warnings was we have to have a significant and immediate shift in this, because the more civilian casualties we mount, not only is that a moral problem for America and for Israel, but certainly it could be a strategic one as well, as we are creating potentially more extremism than we're trying to resolve.
I mean, I know there's not some bright, clear line here, but if 20,000 civilians are really dead inside Gaza, is that moment already passed? You can win a war tactically and lose strategically if everybody who's left hates your guts even more than they did before the war started.
I certainly wanted to see a different approach to this since day one, and I was very vocal early on in this operation about doing this the right way. Right? So Israel has the right to defend itself. It has an obligation to defend itself. And I've been very clear all along that Hamas must be dismantled. Hamas cannot be allowed to exist. It must be destroyed. And there is a military component to that, because innocent Palestinians are also victims of Hamas. But it's not enough to say we want to destroy terror. The goal is one piece, but doing that the right way is just as important as setting the goal itself. And the right way must be a more strategic, surgical and focused counter-terror operation instead of the broad-based bombing campaign that we have seen, because a broad-based bombing campaign, like I said, runs the substantial risk of fueling the very extremism that Hamas actually feeds on. It feeds on hopelessness and despair and anguish. And every time you kill civilians in conflict, you just fuel more of that hopelessness and despair.
Yeah, I just wonder if 20,000 people are already dead, it might be kind of too late to shift course on that point. I want to ask you about another element of this letter, though. You talk about the idea that the U.S. is a source of credibility and power. Do you worry that President Biden's embrace of Prime Minister Netanyahu and the tactics Israel has used here could come at a cost to America's standing in the world? Do we bear any responsibility for those 20,000 deaths?
Well, certainly the president and the Secretary of Defense and the vice president and Jake Sullivan and many other senior administration officials have been very clear that we are calling for a shift and that we are very concerned with Prime Minister Netanyahu's strategy here, which we do not think serves Israel and the people of Israel, nor does it serve American interests. So we continue to push on that, and I will continue to do so from my perch in Congress as well.
You're calling, you're pushing, but would you go so far as to condition additional military aid on Israel changing course or changing tactics? I mean, would you put any kind of conditions in an aid bill like what Bernie Sanders, for example, has proposed?
Well, what we want to do is put guardrails in place to ensure that this aid is being used consistent with U.S. interests. Because as you just noted, the United States has a lot of other things to look at. Right? We are completely committed to Israel's peace and security into the state of Israel, but we also are fighting a war throughout many places for people's hearts and minds. Right? We are supporting our partners in Ukraine. We are looking at an increasingly aggressive and assertive China. And a big part of that great power competition that we're playing throughout the world is making sure that we are making the case for democracy, making sure that we fight consistent with our values. So certainly public sentiment and public will is an important piece to that. And I am concerned that the manner in which this war is being prosecuted in Gaza undermines our ability to make that case, both within the United States and abroad.
A senator's conditions may be a congressman's guardrails here. I see some equivalence there. I want to ask you, if this war can't be solved militarily, ultimately, right? There's got to be somebody running Gaza when this war is over. What does a diplomatic solution look like in your view? The president's called for a revitalized Palestinian Authority. Prime Minister Netanyahu has totally rejected that idea. How do you see this potentially ending?
Well, first of all, the Palestinian people also have a right to exist, and there should be a Palestinian state. There should be a state of Israel that's safe and secure that we commit to, but also a Palestinian state. A two-state solution, in my view, remains the only path forward. But that's why we wrote this letter, because as you noted earlier in your program, if 60% of the infrastructure in the buildings in Gaza are already destroyed as a result of this operation, and that continues in upwards of 20,000 civilian casualties, at some point we reach a moment where a two-state solution in a viable government becomes out of reach.
Right.
So it's important why we have an immediate and drastic shift in that operation, so we actually can get to a point in the months and years ahead of rebuilding a Palestinian Authority, of actually having a viable partner in the Palestinian government and leadership that we can count on and work with.
And Congressman, finally, since October 7th, we've seen U.S. troops, American facilities in places like Iraq and Syria targeted now more than 100 times. Do you think the administration is doing enough to protect our troops and deter those kinds of actions in the Middle East?
Well, I'm doing my oversight job as a member of the Intelligence Committee and the National Security Committees in Congress to make sure that we are. I never take that for granted. I've been asking a lot of questions. We do a lot of oversight hearing. We have surged resources into the area, Navy resources, additional air defense capability. You're right. There have been upwards of 100 attacks on U.S. facilities, our U.S. service members and installations in the region since October 7th. So the fact that we have a footprint in the region, and that footprint has been threatened by the increased risk in the last 2.5 months. So I'm going to continue to push hard. But right now, the administration has protected our troops, has protected commercial shipping, and has done what's necessary. But we will continue to make sure that they do so.
All right. Congressman Jason Crow, we got to leave it there. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.